Kimberly Miller for Green Cities Media, talking with Joseph Malki, the co-founder and vice president of Green Cities. Hi, Joseph.
Hello, Kimberly.
So Green Cities is now kind of coming to a close. How's it been so far?
It's been a wonderful experience. We've had members of government and business scaling from the federals to state, county, and big businesses and small businesses. It's been the perfect range that we expected, and Florida has been very hospitable, especially the city of Orlando and, of course, Orange County.
So have you had a favorite session so far? What have you learned here?
Well, I had the opportunity to actually take classes here, and I elected to learn about the capital market partnerships, which is Mike Italiano's part of his market transformation to sustainability practice. He is one of the co-founders of the USGBC, and in that class we learned about new underwriting standards for residential and commercial building, as well as the new securitization of green related to debt and equity. It's very complicated but very interesting, and I hope to learn more next time around in Alabama and in New York City.
So while you've been here, what do you think that the attitude and atmosphere of the attendees has been?
It's one of excitement. I heard conversations after sessions where people were talking about the content. There were long lines to ask speaker questions, which is always a good sign. And during our evening reception hosted by Advanced Solar Photonics, there was an amazing amount of chatter, not about personal stuff that usually happens, but really people discussing the issues and trying to figure out what the next steps for their governments or business were.
So what's happening here in the background? I see lots of little circles forming and people talking. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, Steve Cochran with the National Center for Sustainability in D.C. has helped us basically practice the open space technology, which is a way that members of an event community can self-organize around topics of their own choosing. People basically sign up and volunteer to host a topic, and then those folks who want to follow and discuss that topic gather together in groups. And what we're seeing here is groups on water, wind, energy, solar, taxes, and the general practice of greening your business get together and share policy concerns, practice concerns. And what happens in these experiences is that people trade business cards after these discussions, and they usually get together over email or sometimes in person and deepen their conversations. Sometimes business relationships are brokered here, or friendships, which go on to, of course, advance this whole science of sustainability into practice.
So if you were hosting a session, what would the title of that be?
Mine would be the acceleration of green businesses. I think the Obama administration, certainly no fault of theirs, but because of the speed they had to act to, didn't really foresee that there's this gap and this lag time between the business development cycle, which can be anywhere from a year to 2 years, depending on the scope and scale of the project, and job creation. You can't create new jobs for new green businesses without doing the due diligence of at least a year or two of negotiating land deals, leasing deals, tax deals, in order to establish a green factory or a new photovoltaic installation, or in the case of petroalgae, one of their new biodiesel algae farms. So these things do take time, and the market needs to figure out some way to accelerate that. I think in my conversation today with the Lieutenant Governor of Florida, we chatted about this debacle, what we're facing. And there are many resources in a state like Florida, but I think it's about the federal government's relationship with the Small Business Administration. I think the Small Business Administration needs to be a little more proactive. Credit needs to be loosened around sustainable businesses that follow, for example, the SMART manufacturing specification or green building. And we're seeing that in California, for example, with AB 191. Where even consumers are allowed to take loans directly from municipalities to create energy efficiency. One of the failures of that piece of legislation is that it does not specify that those new energy efficient windows or that insulation or that energy efficient appliance really should be made in California. Every state should, in a sense, be responsible for its own economic development.
Sure.
So another interesting conversation to have in one of these groups, perhaps in our next event, would be how do we craft smarter legislation that favors the industrial business development cycle for those particular states.
So what's next for Green Cities?
Green cities will expand and continue to grow, probably in a smaller footprint to provide deeper technical training to those people who don't necessarily just want the general overview, but who want to walk out with an actual action plan for their government or business. Green cities will most likely be virtualized as well by providing pay-per-view training through online video. I think we're going to look at collaborating with government in a more intimate level and focus on our planning summits so that members of government and the thought leadership of that state can actually have a stakeholder influence on the design of the conference that follows it.
Terrific. Well, Green Cities has been a lot of fun. Thanks for having us here, and good luck in the future.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Kimberly.